Hey everyone, my name is Mars, like the planet, and this is Housewarmin. Me and my partner have just purchased our very first home, so if you're interested in design, homemaking, or figuring it all out, make sure you subscribe. Today I'm going to be repotting my Cebu Blue pothos. As you can see, there are some yellow leaves at the top, and it has completely outgrown the pot that I bought it in almost a year ago. You can barely see it under there, but I'm going to show you step by step how I repot a plant and how I know when it's time to repot. I have some construction going on outside, so I'm sorry if you hear that noise. I'm going to be doing it inside today because it is a little warm outside and I don't want you guys to hear the noise, so it's a bit unconventional for me to be repotting inside, but I'm still gonna take you step by step, so let's get into it. So like I said, I'm sorry for any noise that you hear, any hammering, sawing, or anything like that. Our neighbors next door are getting their bathroom redone, and unfortunately, we share a wall with them. So this is my Cebu Blue pothos. I picked it up at Walmart almost a year ago, and it is almost quadrupled in size, if not quintupled, that's the word, quintupled in size. It started off almost maybe at this length. You could still see the pot that is underneath, and it is definitely just taken off. It's still going. So like the name suggests, this is a pothos, so it is very, very easy to take care of. If you are interested in learning more about a Cebu Blue pothos, I definitely feature it in a ton of my houseplant tours and talk-throughs. I definitely have a video all about houseplants that are super easy to care for, so I will link that down below for you to check out. But this plant has been sitting in an east-facing window, and I've been noticing that the leaves are starting to get yellow. It is starting to wilt a lot, and that is a sign that it is needing to be repotted. This is still the nursery pot that it came in when it came from Walmart, and I definitely think it is time to repot. So if you own a houseplant and you have never repotted it before, this is not something that you should always worry about. You should probably repot a houseplant every 2 or so years, so this is not a frequent thing that you should be doing. But if your plant is wilted, if it looks like it needs water, it probably needs water. If your plant is constantly wilting, if it has been in his pot for almost 2 or so years, if it is getting yellow leaves like these, if it's just starting to look super unhealthy, it may be time to pot your plant into a bigger pot. So the rule of thumb is to go 2 inches bigger in diameter with the size of the pot that you already have. Look, the leaf is coming off right now, but I am going to do the same for this plant. I'm going to make sure also that I give it enough room for its roots to trail down, because you can see that this is super shallow right now, and I definitely know that the roots are root bound. And if you're not sure what root bound means, that just means that the roots are all tight together. You'll definitely see when I pull this plant out, I'll show you. But if you can see roots growing out of the bottom, it might mean that it is time to repot your house plant. Now, a lot of plants definitely do not need to constantly be repotted. So do not feel the second that you bring a house plant at home that you need to instantly put it in a bigger pot. Like I said, I've had this one growing in this pot that it came from Walmart for almost a year, and it has been perfectly fine up until now. So you can repot your houseplant into a plastic container, into a terracotta container, into a decorative container. Just make sure that it has a hole in the bottom. And like I said, it is 2 inches wider in diameter. You are also going to need potting mix. I've said this time and time again, we do not put potting soil in pots. I know it is confusing because it's the word potting, but potting soil goes in the ground. You can also not just dig up dirt from outside and put it into a new pot. Yes, dirt is free outside, but dirt is going to compact and it is going to kill your little baby houseplant. You can only use soil that says that it is for houseplants. It should say it on there, and it should be called potting mix. One more time, potting mix. You can find this easily at Home Depot, Lowe's, or any type of home improvement store, any type of home nursery, or even Walmart sells potting mix. So I'm going to get my potting mix, I'm going to get my pot, and I'm going to get this thing repotted. So I have my Cebu Blue pothos right here, and then I have the pot that I'm going to put it in. I also made sure I got something that was a little bit deeper just so the roots could grow down. I also have a container with potting mix in it. I just went outside and grabbed some since I am doing this inside. And I also have a tablecloth to protect my table. So what I am first going to do is I'm going to take some potting soil and put it at the bottom of this container, just because I know that this is obviously going to need a little bit of soil to protect it from the bottom. Now you can also wear gloves. You can use a little shovel. It doesn't really matter. I like to get my hands dirty, so I'm just gonna use my bare hands. You wanna also make sure that the mix is not soaking wet, but it's also not just bone dry. You see that this kind of compacts together without falling apart. It also is not dripping and stopping in soil, but it is a little bit moist. Now that I have a little bit of soil at the bottom there, I am going to take my plant out of its original container. Now, you want to be very careful not to disrupt the roots. Just because repotting a plant, while it is beneficial to repot a plant, it can stress some plants out. We do not want to send this plant into shock, so we are going to be very, very careful, especially because its vines are so long. I'm going to droop them over the side of the table, and I'm going to carefully turn this over, and you can see right here, I did just water this plant, but you can see right here, these are roots all wrapped around the bottom of the container. So that means it was definitely time to repot it. These are all roots. You can see the texture on it. These are roots right here. So it is definitely going to be happy. So I'm going to go ahead and place it in the center of the pot, just like that. And now, since I have about a 2-inch diameter of space, I do need to fill that in with soil as well. So I'm just gonna go around and fill in the soil so I do not see any gaps. And you also might need to tap it down a little bit. You might need to pat the sides just so the soil can get into all the nooks and crannies, because we don't want any air pockets. And I'm just, once again, just being cautious. I'm just softly lifting the leaves out of the way and just packing that soil in there. I'm just gonna lift this up a little bit. And just pack the soil in there. Now that my plant is repotted into its new pot, I am going to water it, and that just eliminates any air pockets that could possibly be in the soil. So let's head over to the sink. While I'm here, I'm also going to give my plant a little haircut. I'm going to remove all of the yellow leaves. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to take some scissors. I'm going to go right down to where the node is and just snip it right off. And these leaves were already going to die, so it really doesn't do the plant any good to hold onto them. And some of them are already dead. Like this, they just pop right off. So that's going to do it for today's video. I hope that you found this video helpful. If you are trying to repot your houseplant, let me know if you have any questions down below. I post new videos every single Wednesday, so I will see you guys next week. Bye.